sucks. Warfare has changed very heavily in the last 5 years, and nothing has changed it more than the introduction of drones. Both hovering drones for ISR, FPV drones, everything has changed. And more so now than ever, countries, militaries are looking at counter-drone technology. But oftentimes for the guy on the ground, there's not a whole lot of options to use. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the actual weapons that you can carry, the ammunition that you can use that could provide a good defense against drones. Now to help us with these videos, we have two individuals on here. So go ahead and introduce yourselves, please.
I was a American national. I fought with Ukrainian Armed Forces for about a year. I worked in the direct action capacity, primarily on infill, exfil, doing counter drone with a shotgun.
Sir?
I'm also American. I fought in the ZSU, a couple of different units, initially with trench assaults and then with developing drone systems and aerial repeaters.
So we have some really good experience here to be able to take a very practical look, and we're also taking a look at some very interesting new developments in anti-drone rounds. I hope you guys will be interested and that you will stay tuned as we delve into this very important topic today on Garand. Now, a little secret for you guys, you might not know it, but you actually don't pay for this content. You pay for it with your time, which we're very appreciative of. But we got to give a big thank you to our sponsors for keeping this content free. Now, the biggest sponsors, of course, Primary Arms. If you're looking for pistol optics, you're looking for rifle optics, they literally have it all. And more importantly, they actually care for you directly. So if you email them and say, hey, what should I buy? They'll probably give you a pretty good suggestion, and they might like send a little heart emoji. You never know what you're going to get. You're probably a little bit lonely. You're going to feel good about your life. So give a lot of support to Prime Arms. And of course, guys, if you're looking for a rifle, we cannot forget about BCM, Bravo Company USA. They are the best little, teeter-totter between price and excellent components. You have a solid combat rifle that is not going to break the bank. We always recommend them. The MCMR is awesome. And if you email BCM and you say, Garand Thumb told me to email you and say that I love you very much, maybe they'll say I love you back. Maybe your life will be complete. Guys, if you're looking for a game computer, don't forget Zydax. You can be just like me, play at 300 frames per second, but still die to a 13-year-old online, and it is wonderful. And finally, of course, if you're looking for ammunition, Last Shot Arizona, they have all that defensive war ammo that you could possibly need. Go and check them out. We always recommend a good 13 mags of that really good war ammo, so give them your support. With all that being said, talk's cheap, and drones are, well, I imagine they're expensive, but I'm not paying for them today. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about here is some of the common weapons that are used in Ukraine. Now, I understand you have quite a bit of time as a counter-drone guy on your team in the back of a truck. What's typically used right now?
Correct. So right now, as we kind of spoke about in a previous video here, you're kind of subject to what you're issued, right? There's a wide range of weapons. Some very prestigious units have things like Benelli M4s. Some units aren't as fortunate. Typically what I would see, or what I would be using, is something very similar, some kind of semi-auto bottom load shotgun. Also very commonly used, and what I used primarily throughout my career was actually a Turkish bullpup.
Yep.
Of course, you want to speak to like magazine limitations and things like this.
Of course, so the problem with any type of shotgun is going to be the amount of rounds that you can hold in it. Now, obviously, shotguns are great for what they do. They're great for nailing birds out of the sky. A lot of the shorter shotguns, like you see with the Benelli M4, do really heavily rely on the round being used to keep that pattern nice and tight. So you do have a limitation. If any of my trap, skeet, and bird hunters out there know, you're typically not hunting with a Benelli M4 because, well, your range is fairly limited. This is why you see a lot more of these full-choked, full-barreled shotguns being used quite often. But you still have limitations on magazine size. Probably you see a lot of the Turkish shotguns used. Now, in your time using them, how did they perform?
Not great. Of course, shotguns can be quite finicky, especially if you're moving into any kind of magazine-fed shotgun.
Oh, yeah.
They're very, very finicky creatures. They don't like to cycle, especially if you start introducing an environment like Ukraine where you're subject to mud, lack of cleaning, just poor maintenance throughout the shotgun service life. And so you start to encounter issues with that, as well as you're limited to, the 5-round magazines that I always had to run in my Turkish shotgun, in the bullpups. Anything over that, if I got issued 7 and then 10-rounder extended magazines, and it would cycle maybe 2 rounds and jam. So you're limited on ammo, you're limited on range, and of course the effectiveness of the shotgun cycling.
How close would the drone have to be before you could engage it effectively?
Yes.
We talked about this a little bit of a pucker factor here.
Exactly. So like your responsibility when you're on the back of the truck is to obviously take down the target and neutralize the threat that's coming towards you. Of course, your sight is going to be much more effective at range than the shotgun is that you're holding. And so, like you said, it's a big pucker factor with having to wait for the target to approach you and letting you get a clear shot. And so it's you're seeing typically between 30 to maybe 50 meters at a maximum distance with a 12 gauge shotgun.
You know, and those drones, we're talking like a 7-inch drone, a 10-inch drone, which we'll talk about in a moment, guys. We're talking 50 to 90 miles per hour with a payload on them. That's closing in at 30 meters to you very, very fast.
Yes.
That's not a whole lot of reaction time.
No.
Now, obviously, you've made it work, and soldiers in Ukraine have made it work from what we've seen so far. But obviously, carrying a shotgun with you, carrying that ammo, there are some limitations to what you see with shotguns. So one thing that we'll also be introducing today is going to be the drone round. So the drone round simply fires out of your typical 5.56 rifles. Here's a drone round right here. Looks like a 5.56 round, but performs like a very high performance shotgun. So what's really cool about these guys is obviously we have a military variant, but we also have a commercial variant that, as of filming, should probably be fairly close to being released, which means that you can have your very own drone rounds. So we've talked about this a little bit, but why would this be so good being on the front lines?
Yeah, kind of like we talked about, again, in an earlier video, we talked about kind of the soldier's payload, right? Mm-hmm. And you're already expected to go out on mission and kind of prepare for worst case scenario. So you're overpacked, you're preparing for a 3-day rotation to turn into 7 days. So you're already bogged down with sustainment. And then your commander, right before a mission during your briefing, hands you another primary weapon and says, here's another 15 pounds to carry. It's not at all convenient. It's not good. You have to carry that your entire mission. On the infill, you'll have your primary weapon system slung, usually like an AR platform slung over. You have another primary weapon, the shotgun for counter drone stuff, up in your arm, in the ready. It's just not a very convenient thing to have. It's just very hindering to the soldier.
You know, as a former, military man myself, I would say being able to just have a magazine that I can just rip into my gun and that has that immediate anti-drone capability is very, very alluring to me. Now, I guess the question that we're going to have is how does it actually perform? So today we're actually going to be, grouping these different weapons on paper. We'll be firing from a trench as FPV drones fly at us from guys who've actually flown them in combat. We'll then be on the back of a truck having them fly at us, and we'll be seeing the performance between the two of them and seeing how they actually work as close to real life as we can get. Of course, we're not going to die, hopefully.
This time.
So, with all that being said, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Here we have a 10-inch drone target. So we're going to be firing at about 25 meters or so. We're going to be doing this a full shotgun with birdshot as well as the anti-drone round. So we'll be seeing how these perform. We have a 11.5-inch URGI. We also have an 11-inch 416. These will work out of any 5.56 gun, even with a suppressor. It's not going to damage it. So that's very interesting. You can just slap it in. I'm very interested to see what the recoil feels like, how it feels like on follow-up. I just can't wait. Now, our drone guy also has another note to make. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so with the prevalence of fiber optic drones, you cannot jam them with REB, which is the Ukrainian word for electromagnetic jamming. So the only way that you can defend against those is to either hide or shoot them with a shotgun.
Well, good. Man-made horrors beyond our comprehension.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. I love it. All right, let's do this. All right, first up we have our good old long-barreled shotgun, full choke. Firing birdshot through it. Let's see how it groups. Okay, we got that guy out of the way. Let's try the Benelli M4. Be shooting that on the target to the left of it. Okay. Now, for the first time in my life, I'm going to be firing one of the anti-drone rounds. So I am so excited to try this guy out and see how this actually works. Let's go see how it looks. Okay, we'll go take a look at the shotgun first. So first off, with our long-barreled shotgun, big choke, you can see how nice and tight that pattern was right there. That is wonderful patterning from a shotgun. Choke over here. As you can see right here, with the Benelli M4, we have a much wider pattern. It's because we don't have any type of good choke. It's just your typical, I'm pretty sure we just have a cylindrical in there at the moment. And now you could put in different chokes in the M1014 that will tighten it up, but with the shorter barrel, you're still just not going to get that longer forcing cone like you have with a different shotgun. Okay, now let's take a look at this. If you can see, the pellets from the 5.56 are very tight. This is by design. These rifles actually have a much longer range compared to the shotgun. So compared to the shotguns with about a 30-minute range, these guys are making hits on drones all the way up to 150 meters, And then obviously they recommend about 100 meters. So we're actually going to step this guy back and show you the capability of this to make very long shots. Let's do it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be firing at a much farther range to show you what these are capable of. Now on the 10-inch target, we're going to be firing 1 round. And then on the left target, we have a 7-inch drone. We're going to be firing about 5 rounds to show you the patterning that you can do. And what's really cool about these is you can just rip these auto, just flood the sky. So let's see what it looks like. That feels just like 5.56 and it functions fine. We don't have any type of strikes within our suppressor or anything like that. Looks perfect. Now, I do have a previous baffle strike, but that's not from the birdshot rounds right here. Okay, let's give it a little look-see right here. Now, here's the thing to realize as well, is that, yes, shotguns can fire further with specific ammo as well. Your typical birdshot's not gonna have much range, which is what makes this so cool and so interesting. Let's take a look at this. So once we fired our guy out to here, we got our pellet strikes on here, and if we take a look over on this, once we fired about 5 rounds, still getting my grouping here, you can see how we're able to easily pepper that area. So you can see with the nice thing about having your anti-drone rounds is that, well, you can just use it in the same weapon system. Now the big question is how does this actually work in practice? Before we get into that, let's see what these drones are actually capable of and how terrifying it sounds. Some people also would be quick to point out that this is just snake shot. It's not. Snake shot does not hit with quite enough force at the distances that we're trying to engage these drones compared to the drone round, which has about the energy of a 380 when it strikes. With these carbon fiber frames on these different types of drones or whatever type of material that they're made of, it's important to be able to smack them with enough force that we're able to damage critical components to make sure that this guy can't continue its course to put you in the forever box or in the forever ground. So if you wouldn't mind speaking a little bit to drones, obviously you have some very unique experience. Tell us about what we're looking at here and some of the common ones you will encounter.
Yeah, so this is a pretty typical 7-inch FPV. These unloaded will go about 60 miles an hour on average, depending on the components that you use. These days we're seeing more 10 and 15-inch FPVs, but these would carry a pretty standard RPG-7 armor-penetrating warhead.
What's the speed that you're seeing on the 10 and 15-inch?
It's about the same, but their payload is a lot.
Oh, how terrifying.
Yeah.
What are you typically putting on those? Is it actual manufactured explosives or?
Yeah, so the Ukrainians are basically cannibalizing standard munitions and repackaging them so that they can be put on different drones. So we'll see everything from like traditional explosives to thermobarics to tannerite to everything that blows up.
Now, we're talking about FPVs here. When it comes to like your hovering munition, like Mavic drones, like is there a lot of drops still being done, or is it primarily FPV?
No, drops haven't been a thing for a while, partially because DJI is very easily jammable. They only operate on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz for the most part, so it's very easy to counter those with EW.
Okay, makes sense. Well, I'm sure we've done enough talking. Let's see what this is like when it's coming in from about 200 yards, and so we can see the actual speed.
Yeah, they only get louder.
Well, that sucks.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine waiting until like 30 meters of a shotgun?
Yeah. Fucking terrible, dude.
Good times. Hey, show us how maneuverable these things are. This is the part in Red Dead Redemption. This is... POV, me getting killed by a 17-year-old.
How the f did you shoot those things?
Does anybody have any Tylenol?
You want some like Ativan or something, bro? So let's speak to that a little bit. Obviously this thing's unloaded, so it's going to be cruising at a higher speed. So you're not able to do quite all those maneuvers, but orbits, that type of thing, is that possible?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. circling your target is a very common thing that you'll see. Even a lot of the drone footage that's coming out of Ukraine these days. I mean, that's how you find targets. Generally, the SOP is find it with an ISR drone, like a Mavic, or sorry, a Matrice 30T, and then go hunter-killer with one of these things. So,
Well, I guess there's nothing left to do but hop in the trench and see how we do with the shotgun to start.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so now we're in the trench. We're going to try this first with shotguns. I know there's some things you want to speak to really quickly.
Yeah, I know you guys saw in a previous video, kind of Mike and I talking about some SOPs as we're moving through a tree line. Obviously, we were kind of highlighting cover and concealment. In this instance, it's a little bit different as we are in a simulated friendly position. So, you know, cover and concealment and stealth isn't as much of a priority. The kind of test we're going to be showing here now is going to be, you know, if you're in a friendly position, you have friendlies in the trench, there's nobody else around you that's OP4. And so what you kind of do, you refer to it as a submarine call. It's called in the military where, you know, a message is relayed back and forth. So all accountability is taken throughout the trench. So I'll call out drone, or if Mike sees the drone first, he'll call out drone, and I will repeat that command back to him just to make sure that we have kind of all hands on deck, that there's a situation in the air.
Cool. Well, there's nothing like the now. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Drone.
Drone! Follow my gun, it's in front of my muzzle. Malfunction? Or am I out? Oh, I'm out.
Wait, can everybody pause war for a second?
Guys, time arrow.
Drone. There's right. Oh, fucker.
See, it's fucked.
Yeah.
It's so fucked.
That's so fucking hard.
Drone!
Drone. There's right.
That's him.
And we're dead.
Now we're dead as fuck.
Okay, so we've been killed every time so far. And let's give the drone round a try. Okay, so with the drones and shotguns, very difficult. The problem is that you don't always know what rounds you're getting. So we're using birdshot in this case, and we actually did strike the drone a few times. So like we hit the battery, but it just wasn't doing enough damage. The pellets weren't damaging enough. I think you heard it hit the propellers and it kind of did that fluttering noise.
Yep.
But we weren't just able to do enough damage. And on top of that, we could see it further out, but we have a little dip here. And once it dipped down, by the time it came up on us, it was like 15 meters away. So with this, we should be able to engage it out further. And I think these are going to be much stronger in impact. And I think we'll be able to take the drone down, hopefully. And we'll see how it works. So let's go round 2 with the drone round. Do you think that, you know, the French were like, oh, longbows made warfare gay? And then now we're here, we're like, oh, drones.
Same. Just like you remember, like knights were getting schwacked by, you know, peasants with crossbows. You know, it's just the same shit.
Yeah, the injustice of it.
Mm-hmm. Think of the cost of all of the training, all the munition, all the equipment on like a typical SF soldier, tier 2, tier 1, whatever.
Yeah.
And you think of the cost of that, like the force multiplication is so disgusting.
I'm worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm worth about $6.
Drone. Run!
It's coming.
Ooh. Beautiful. Take that, fucking drones. It felt like I was a, British Spitfire shooting down like the Luftwaffe in World War II. It felt good, first off. But the thing we have to speak to is, one, we can't show who it is, but we do have probably the best drone pilot in the world flying these drones. So this isn't bullshit. We also have him being advised by a guy who has almost a year of combat time in drones. And we have some of the worst terrain because he's able to dip below and pop right on us. So we have a very difficult scenario here. These are the drone round guys. I know you want to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, dude. First of all, nice shooting.
Thank you.
This is definitely one of the
this
hardest.
guy right here.
Yeah, you guys nailed it. This is definitely one of the hardest terrain setups in any demo or experiment we've ever done. Because you guys couldn't see it.
Yeah.
You had to engage it so late. And then when you did get a chance to engage it with the shotguns, it wasn't enough force to do it. And then you guys got that shot on target and obviously destroyed it. Got it down, which is super cool. And yeah, the best drone pilot in the world says that's the best drone pilot. That guy is insane. So that whole setup was the wildest one.
We've done, from the drones perspective, over on the tandem defense side, we've done dozens of these iterations of like trying to prepare soldiers for this. We've never seen a situation quite this bad for those defending against drones. And I think you guys nailed it.
Well, that's awesome. I think what we'll do at this point is we've seen one of the worst scenarios. We still nailed it. First off, what's up?
Oh yeah.
Drone killers. We're going to do a more head-on approach, not to make it easier on us, but rather to show you that oftentimes coming across no man's land, or from different angles, depending on how it goes, there could be easier approaches for shooting down a drone. Oftentimes, so obviously there's a lot of variability here. I'm sure you could speak to that, but we'll take a slightly easier roll to see how far we can nail this drone out with. I'm very interested to see this. So we'll go for round 2. Go ahead.
And I would just like to note one thing as well with that farther engagement. It's something to completely change like your mental SOP and how you're prepared to deal with the threat, which is drones, because there's many times where you're sitting in a tree line and you'll hear a drone flying by, or hear a drone flying perpendicular to your tree line, and you look up at it and it's not even worthwhile trying to engage this, because all I'm going to do is make noise and not hit anything. And by using drone round, it pushes kind of the profile of how far I can actually like create that target package in my head and decide and make the kind of the decision to engage the target and neutralize it with effectiveness rather than just kind of sit helplessly.
That's awesome. I never even thought about that. That's why we got you here at the experience.
Can I make one observation?
Yeah.
With the shotgun, there was a whole lot of lulls with you guys having to reload, and with this guy, it was just you're ready to go.
It's like everyone pause war really quick while we're putting shells in. So this is definitely more effective. So let's see how far we can push this out. We have to change the angle slightly so we don't, do some things safety-wise. But yeah, let's
do it.
Also, one thing I noticed is when it was running perpendicular, it's very much so like a shotgun, if you notice, because like you definitely had that lag time, not like a shotgun. It's definitely faster, but I definitely gave it about a 3 or so FPV lead, and that's when I was just nailing it.
Yeah. It's very, very short. And it's very short considering the speed in which the FPV is traveling.
Oh, yeah.
And if you take like a 12 gauge, like the reason that we're not hitting this is because maybe you and I are used to shooting like skeet or trap or something where your target is flying much slower.
Yeah.
And now you're multiplying the speed of the target by 3-4x. And so your lead is going to inherently increase as well. And it's just such a hard thing to wrap your head around, like in the moment, under the pressure of an FPV.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Okay, well, let's set up for round 2.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to have a slightly different angle for this approach. Please explain why.
Yeah, so typically kind of what you see when you're sitting in a friendly position is you're going to have like flight paths perpendicular to your tree line. So kind of coming at you and flying over. And you'll notice that typically strike drones that are commuting or on their way to target, they're going to be pretty high altitude. And the reason for this is because of signal. As you get closer to the ground, just like with radio communications, it's all shortwave stuff. So any kind of object, and especially like trees and vegetation, it's a black hole for signal. And so pilots are typically going to have to stay elevated to kind of have a clear line of sight and the best reception possible when they're traveling on their way to their target. And so that's kind of going to simulate that. We're going to have pretty much just a straight perpendicular flight path
from that direction.
Yeah, perpendicular flight path to the trench. So we'll have a nice clear shot. This is something that I would see quite frequently, like we were talking about in the last scene where, as somebody that's sitting in the trench, maybe I have a 12 gauge on me, maybe I have my service weapon with, shooting 5.56. I'm not even going to think about engaging something like this. I'm going to look for cover and concealment and hope it flies by and hope it's not like stopping at my tree line. And so being able to, intercept a threat that previously I would have even never thought of engaging is kind of what we're demonstrating here. And it's kind of one of the biggest facts or biggest pushing points of the drone round is the engagement distance.
Can't wait to try it out. See how we do first try.
That's it. Drone! 12 o'clock!
12 o'clock!
I thought it was coming out my direction fast. I'm kind of glad you didn't get it.
Drone! Reloading!
You. Oh, that was. Woo! You saved my life, Mike.
I saved his life.
I love you.
Okay, so I think we learned a lot about leads on this guy. It's very interesting hitting the drone. I definitely got it down at this point.
Yeah.
It's fun. I saw you went dry. What's cool is your reload is quick on that.
Exactly. I'm not shoving 12 gauge, fiddling with the feeder. It's none of that. It's just your standard AR reload. It's super quick. It's something that everybody knows.
Now, typically with these, we're firing this all semi. Now, we can't say the word here on YouTube, but if you're able to be firing faster than semi, is how this is meant to be fired, where you're just clouding the air with pellets. So, unfortunately, we can't show that because freedom doesn't matter, I guess. But now that we've shot it out of the trench, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get in the back of the truck, we're gonna try the very same thing. We're gonna see how it goes. This is right up your alley right here, man.
Yeah, infills and exfills. That's the most dangerous part of the mission, so I think that's one of the most important to simulate here.
Let's do it, brother.
That's it.
Right, we're now in the back of the truck. We got 3 shooters right here, me included, and we'll be going after a FPV drone that's gonna be chasing us during your typical XL infill that you guys have dealt with previously. So fairly real world. Are they typically coming at the back?
Yeah, so like usually, from my perspective, being a rear gunner, I was always facing back. So exactly like you see here, I'd usually be standing. And so what you would see is, if you're not being hit dead on from the front, you'll see like essentially the drone will go by you and then you'll see it make a loop and then start kind of tracking and following you in. And usually they're coming from like the side or like, kind of perpendicular to you. And if there's a tree line, they're kind of staying up and over the tree line. But this will be a perfect example of kind of what it's like when you're kind of infilling to position, which arguably is the most dangerous part of the operation, is getting there because you're so exposed. And so kind of really anything in the scope of a drone following the truck is very similar to what you see on the field.
Let's do it, boys.
Let's do it.
Whew, that felt good. Yeah, that was definite chassis damage on that one.
Dude, it popped out of nowhere.
It popped out of nowhere, close. It was like, holy shit.
I saw it because you pointed at something like a bird or something.
No, it was another. I thought it was another drone.
Yeah, I saw the hawk circling there. I'm like, nah, it's gotta be a hawk. All right, sir, you're the expert. Tell us what we got here.
Well, obviously our round just sliced right through the frame right there and lopped off a motor.
Yeah, that is
Beautiful.
Drone can't fly with 3 motors.
That's pretty easily repairable too, right?
Oh yeah? Yeah, it's just another frame. It's not even the whole frame either. It's literally the arms. Yeah.
And you have a prop, this motor. Wow, look at how it peeled back the bell housing of the prop, or the motor. That's really cool.
Oh, that's neat. Dude, these rounds are so easy to nail these guys with.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. Like, how many shots did we get off? Maybe 5 or 6?
I got off 3.
Yeah, like we're just like, it just dropped. I really got a feel for where to lead it now with these rounds.
Yeah.
It really isn't that difficult at all.
At that distance, it's almost pretty. It's like you said, just a couple FPVs off of it.
Yeah, no, literally. That was, this is fun as hell. This is like skeet shooting
Yeah,
on
it is.
steroids.
Yeah, it really is.
It's high consequence skeet shooting, yes.
Exactly.
Well, we're gonna do another one. We're gonna have this one coming in a little bit further of a distance, and we're gonna see how we do there.
So kind of what we were explaining, like when we were in the bed of the truck talking before we went on this simulated infill, you'll see that flight pattern is very common where they'll come in and whip around to you and kind of catch you and start following you. That's pretty realistic, although, as you could probably speak to it, it's done a bit slower. Imagine 2 or 3 kilograms of explosives on top of the weight of the drone. They don't fly as agile. But
What
other
you're
than that,
saying is we're going up against a harder enemy right now.
yeah, basically what we're saying is we are Chads. It's really cool if you look at like the actual damage with 12 gauge. You would really never see like complete arm separation unless like you got the craziest shot in the world and multiple pellets hit like this carbon fiber arm. Like this is like extreme damage. Like there's a lot of the times you actually have hits on drones like we saw in the trench where it damages the drone, but it's not enough to like make it unairworthy and take it out of the sky. Like you'll have even if you like sever an inch off this prop, like it'll still fly. So just the amount of destruction, and I guess that goes into the ballistic side of things with joules and how much force you're actually driving with that round.
That is a really good point. A lot of people don't think about that with birdshot and or whatever rounds they're getting out there.
Drone! might have been my shot.
Nice, look at that, right through the prop, just took that thing straight out.
Whoa! Unplug it. I can't.
It was just a little pissed. What is this, where you just shoot it a few more times on the ground?
So we have two. We have one complete prop hit, folded, and then we have another hole right here through the prop. So 2 props. I don't see any other damage.
Nice. It doesn't really take much with these rounds. Like
No.
once it nicks with 1 or 2 of these pellets, it's down. That wasn't too bad at all.
No. Good shooting, boys.
Good shooting, boys. I got a misfeed on one of mine. That's just AR-15 stuff right there. But that was good times. We gotta do it again. That was hella fun.
Right side, run.
The drone in its natural habitat, taking a drink of water.
So no battery damage. It seems like, oh, we have 1 pellet through a prop,
Nice.
and we have like complete carnage of all of the connectors here, like the little XT60 mini connectors. are
Oh
just
yeah, look at
completely
that.
ripped. And on this side too, pretty much everything coming from the ESC to like motor number 1 is just gone.
Dude, it really doesn't take much.
No, they're fragile.
Yeah.
If you hit them in the right spot, they're really fragile.
Well, what's cool is that these rounds have so much kinetic force that when it gets hit, it's down.
300 joules.
Yeah, freaking wild. That's cool. Well, I'm glad I could get a drink of water, take a little rest. Perfect, guys. Well, we've done a lot of shooting. Let's go ahead and let's finish things up. Let's wrap it up. So we've done a lot of shooting at this point on drones. I think we've learned some pretty good things. Now the shotguns definitely work, but I would say this 5.56 drone round is it. I really can't argue against this thing. It just makes so much more sense. Please, gentlemen, you have a lot more experience than I do countering drones. Give me experiences.
As far as like just like user operation, right? So like you can delve into the obvious things like how comfortable it is not having a secondary primary on your body. It's a lot less stress. It's a lot easier, especially when you're bouncing around inside of a truck. If I had this 416 slapping me in the face, and you know, it's hard. It makes your job harder to do. And the fact that I can reliably strike targets, like we had a 100% success rate.
Yeah.
You know, and on the other side, behind the screen, behind the goggles, as a pilot, you know, you guys have a much higher success rate against us than we do shooting drones out of the sky. And you see much more footage come out of drones impacting vehicles than you see the glory footage of people shooting drones out of the sky. And so the fact that we can come out here, we have I don't know if you've ever shot drones out of the back of a truck before.
Yeah.
So
I haven't.
yeah, so we have me and you and a guy that has no experience shooting at drones, and we can have a 100% hit rate is incredible. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I nailed that thing once. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah.
You kind of get the hang of it pretty quickly. Please, sir.
Yeah, as far as, it might be kind of hyperbolic to say, but I would say we had like a 20% shot for shot improvement over the shotguns. And when you're carrying as much ammo as you can in an AR platform, suddenly your odds jump up exponentially. So I think it's, I'm pleasantly surprised.
I am too. Yeah.
I think you said this pretty well, but like having like a 40 round PMag just full of, you know, drone rounds, just having that on your belt or something and popping that in on an exfil, infill. This is something I'm going to be adding to my kit personally. This will be something I permanently have because drones are not going away. They're only going to get worse. And I think it makes perfect sense to have this capability in your gun.
Right.
I really can't say enough good things about it.
Yep, absolutely no.
Well, I don't think there's too much more to add other than this rocks. I think this is a really good addition to the counter drone capabilities that everybody has. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're always happy to bring out new military technology. Final thing for you guys would be a little bit of dad advice. We actually haven't gotten dad advice from our mysterious masked man right here. So give us a little bit of dad advice, you know, a little bit of life advice for our audience right here.
High speed, low drag is not necessarily the way to go always. Sometimes you need heavy stuff, and yeah,
You never know.
you never know.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, guys, don't forget our Patreon. Patreon has all the best stuff that we don't want posted. More importantly, game night. Me and Sawyer see how bad we are at BF6. We actually, we're pretty bad, guys. Point is, thank you so much for watching, guys. We got nothing else for you.